I'm here actually today to speak about a very basic right, and that is the fundamental right to freedom of expression. It exists all over the world. So in some parts of the world, you have absolutely no freedom of expression, whereas at the other end of the spectrum, you've got a democratic freedom of expression. And that also varies from country to country at different times, depending on whatever the political environment is. Art, on the other hand, which is what the world that I'm involved with, art is something that is created by artists as a reaction to the environment around them. So any artist, and when I say art, I don't just mean fine art. I don't mean a painting. I mean whether it's art or fine art or the performing arts or literature, poetry, music, all of that is basically a reaction by an artist to the environment around, and then they create something which they present to the world to either like or not like, right? Sometimes you hate a piece of art that you see, but that doesn't give you the right to stop it, all right? It is your right to appreciate it or criticize it, but you can't stop it. This fundamental right is something that we all collectively, naturally feel for. It's just human nature. We all feel for it. And last year, the reason I'm even speaking about it is because last year I happened to do a play called Agnes of God. And 6 days, it's a little story here, 6 days before opening, we got a phone call in rehearsal and were told that the venue where we were going to perform had decided to pull the date. They said, you can't perform this, it goes against, you're saying a lot of stuff against our religion, and we cannot, and the church has said, the Catholic Church has said you can't perform it. So we said, but where did it come from? Because you haven't read the script, you haven't seen the play, so we've got a censor certificate, so how has this even happened? As it turns out, long story short, there was a gentleman who decided he wanted to stir up some trouble, so without seeing the material, without even reading the script, he decided to go out and create this hysteria about the play that we were doing. Now, there's a lot of money that goes into creating a movie or a play, or huge amounts of effort by artists to put together stuff. I mean, we've heard of entire art exhibitions being pulled down. We've heard years of work that goes into that. We've heard of books being banned. People have slaved over writing those books, but these things do happen. As it turned out, we had 6 days within which to prepare ourselves to get ready with the show, but we were caught up in all of this nonsense, really, which in fact even went all the way to Delhi, became a political thing, and in Bombay we were getting threats of arrest, that we may be arrested. We were saying, please, just come and watch the play, or if you want, we'll perform it for you. Luckily for us, the director and producer spoke to all the authorities tirelessly, and the authorities understood that we had all the paperwork. The piece would have posed questions, but that's what art does. But it was really not going against the religion or any of that. So, the government said, you will be able to perform, and the police said, we will give you police protection, so don't worry. So eventually we performed, and when the lights came on, when we took our bow, we looked around and there was a sea of policemen in the auditorium. But having said that, now I can laugh about it. In that 1 week, we were terrified. We were terrified, we were angry, we were frustrated, but again, thanks to social media, we had so much support. And, luckily we were able to convince the authorities that we meant no harm and that really we were not so powerful that we were going to shake an entire faith, you know. So it went ahead, and we realized that, of course, since then a lot else has happened. Comedians have had it, movies have had it recently. But the point is, whether it's your work of art or not, it's really important for all of us to go out there and make sure that this basic right to freedom of expression is protected. Because life would be very different without the creative mind at play. It really would. It would be quite boring. This is what I do. I lie. That's my job. I stand on stage and I tell you that I'm a particular character and I'm not. I say things out to you which are not my lines. Someone has written them for me. I point to the set with great importance and tell you it's a palace, but it's actually dirty wood and some canvas stretched across it. I wear costumes that have nothing to do with me, but I take you on a journey. I take you into a little world that's been created so that you can experience something, a feeling, an emotion, learn something about your own life, reflect a little, and move on. That's all we do. We're not there to harm anyone. We will question things. We will make you question yourself as well at times. But that's all that we do. We're like little children, frankly. So, the beauty is, and I hope I'm right this time, all children are artists. And we've all been kids, right? At some point or the other. So everyone in this room, we have all shared one thing, and that is we've all been kids, no matter how old we are. And we've all, every woman in this room, and maybe some of the men, has taken that dupatta, tied it around their heads in a knot, and believed that they've had long, luscious hair. We've all done it, right? You take a little piece of fabric, tie it around your neck, and in an instant, you're a superhero. Correct? That's all we continue doing when we grow up. But what happens is that we tend to, as we grow up, allow adults to come in the way and spoil everything. So we're suddenly told how to sit, how to behave, what to say, what not to say, how to dress. But actually, if you look at a child in its purest form, they have the answers to all art. They really do. And it's so important to retain that no matter what age you become. Keep that little thing inside of you. In fact, sometimes we say true poetry comes from children. There's a little story. My brother's friend is Parsi and he's married a Muslim. And they have a little girl. And one day they were explaining to her, saying, thought they'd talk about community and religion in a good way. And said, you know what, you're half Parsi and you're half Muslim. And she was fine with it and wandered off into the room. Came back a little while later looking very troubled. So they said, what's the problem? So she said, I've been looking at myself all this while in the mirror and I can't understand which half of my face is Muslim and which half is Parsi. And that's poetry right there. That is what we grow up and try to unlearn what we've learned as adults. We go to performing arts school, unlearn everything. We go to study writing, we unlearn everything. We all try to become children all over again. Let me see what my next quote is. Jack Lemmon said that we don't stop playing because we grow old. We grow old because we stop playing. And that's the trick. We have to all remember, and you guys are all at that age where you're still quite young. So don't let go of that childlike quality. And the good thing is that what I have seen, and I interact a lot with your age group, is that you are lucky because the environment that you live in is already pretty creative with those ghastly mobile phones of yours. So when you're Snapchatting, when you're sending each other messages, I know what goes on in those chats. And it's delightfully creative. So while it does interfere with things, it is quite wonderful and remarkable. And even with technology, I think you are all so creative. And that's the other thing that I wanted to say, that creativity doesn't mean that you become an artist. Creativity is something that you use no matter what you do. In fact, they do say that if you look at all the pioneers in any field, whether it's in the world of medicine, mathematics, science, the corporate world, everyone who is a pioneer because they are creative. Look at Einstein. Look at Newton. They were creative. If they were not creative, they would not have been able to do what they did. Newton didn't just see an apple fall to the ground. He didn't. It's about seeing the possibilities. It's not about the reality. In fact, Einstein said something really good. He said, the intuitive mind is a sacred gift. And we create a society that actually hero worships the faithful servant, which is the rational mind. And we forget about the gift. So don't forget about that gift. It's time for us to all reclaim that gift, because that is your weapon. Eventually, creativity is going to be your weapon. So use it. Be that kid again. When you're studying the worst subject, the most boring subject, go on and wear some lipstick. Or better still, bring out that dupatta, tie it around your head. Wear that cape. Do whatever it takes to make you happy. You have no idea. You're going to find a whole lot of possibilities out there, and it's going to take you very, very far in life. And remember one thing, that art in whatever shape or size is integral to all of us. Whether it's your music, whether it's a piece of a painting that you have seen, whether it's a play, movie, horrible TV show, whatever it is, it adds so much to your life. So enjoy it, always stay creative, fight for everyone to have that freedom of expression, and just stay free. Thank you.